Episode of Hockeytown University. You got 2 out of the 3 hosts here today. Unfortunately, Leslie could not make it, but I am joined with the new recent hire, Derek. What's up, buddy? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing amazing. How you guys all doing tonight? As in, just Zach. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit better after that display. That was amazing. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate it.
I gotta call one person out, I got
you. Well, thanks, buddy. Well, welcome back. It is Sunday night. It is 8 p.m. Recording on Sunday night, like I just said. So, I wanted to start off with the episode by, once again, Leslie is not here, unfortunately, so he will be back on the next episode. But to begin the episode, I want to announce, if you guys have not already noticed, our brand new logo. This is something that we've been working on for quite some time. We're really excited about it, and honestly, we hope you guys like it just as much as we do. So, if you do, hit the like button, subscribe, make sure the notification bell is on, and leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Give us your thoughts on the Red Wings.
It's been quite a bit of a process, so at least look at it for us. Just for our sanity. Just look for our sanity. That's all we need to ask for.
What the man said. Do it. That guy. So, to begin, unfortunately, the Red Wings did lose to the Seattle Kracken last night. That did end their 5-game winning streak. Yes, you did hear that right. They were on a 5-game winning streak.
I'm so sorry, everybody.
Derek was only off by 1, but I do want to make it apparent that we did have some pretty good predictions about some of the other games. I do believe it was the Edmonton game right before we started recording on Wednesday night, how I would love to see Dylan Larkin get a power play goal. What did he do? Got a power play goal.
What happened? Oh my god. No kidding.
Oh my god. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. I lit up the group chat about that. I was like, I'm a wizard, Harry. This is amazing. Let's keep it rocking. Like I said, though, Derek was only off by 1. So you know what, Derek? You added to the streak. We're keeping you. Because you are all hail the magic
I thought I was a full-out wizard for the minute there. I saw 6-6 come out of it. Can't argue what happened last night. Mainly because I only watched about all the highlights and that's it. Because I fell asleep hardcore in the second game beforehand. But Jesus Christ, I wanted to win so bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That was a pretty tough game to stay up and watch, regardless if it was on a Saturday night. The start time wasn't until 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. The Red Wings did lose 4-2 against the Seattle Kraken. Just kind of catching up on some of the other games we didn't get to cover in between last episode. The game before that, the Red Wings did beat the Calgary Flames 5-2. And then the game before that, like I said on Wednesday, the Red Wings did win in a shootout against the Edmonton Oilers. So that was great to see. Granted, they probably didn't play their best at the end, but regardless, they still came out with 2 points, and that's exactly what we needed to keep this push going, and that's something we'll kind of go down further the line, but let's touch base really more so on last night's game. Like I said, that ended the 5-game winning streak. The Red Wings, other than the Larkin goal, there really wasn't too many highlights. They definitely looked like that they were getting done with a West Coast trip. In my eyes, they just looked not as connected as they have in the last 5 games. Let's just kind of leave it at that because it just didn't really seem
honestly, they look tired.
Yeah.
That's all you can say about it. They had a long streak. I can't even argue them. They should be tired at this point. You can't expect the Red Wings to do a full, 3-game streak, 4-game streak on the fucking road, and all across, not even just the country, across the whole North America. Come on.
Yeah, from Monday.
I didn't expect it to beat Edmonton, even though I called it. I'm not gonna lie. I was very low hype about that game until I started watching it, and I was like, thank you, Jesus, for proving me wrong so quickly. They had all the steam that they needed to, but they dropped back down to the U.S., and we all saw what just happened there. But, what can you say? Long road trips all across the goddamn North America. Come on. You have to have a break in there somewhere. They got run down, and we'll see tonight what happens, but, you won't see that till, when this posted. But we won't see it till it actually happens here in about, 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
2.5 hours. So, yeah, I mean, Derek's right. Ever since Monday on February 13th, getting that dub against Vancouver, the 6-1, I mean, they played 4 games within 6 days, so you only got 2 days rest in between with all that traveling. And especially being on the West Coast, that time change and everything. And granted, they had a whole week to adjust, but still, Derek's right. They're tired by the end of that. They just want to get home and sleep in their own beds, So I'm not trying to give excuses for the Red Wings because I do believe that is probably a game that they should have won, but it's not the end of the world. And that's also something that I kind of want to jump onto is looking at the standings. It's a little tricky, so to kind of break it down for y'all, looking at the wild card positioning, you got Pittsburgh and New York Islanders right there. They both got 63 points. The kicker on that one is that New York does have 4 more games played than the Detroit Red Wings. And so the other kicker on that is that both Buffalo and Detroit have a higher point percentage than the New York Islanders. And then you keep on looking down the list. After the New York Islanders, you have Washington, who's played 58 games. Then you got Florida with 59 games. So if you really want to be technical, the Red Wings are just right outside a wild card spot based on that points percentage because they have only played 55 games this season.
It's a nice little blanket we get to throw down. We have to remember that. I know it's not looking from let's go back 5 games, 6 games, 7 games ago. It wasn't looking promising.
No.
But now we're looking at it after these games, this nice little win streak is actually problematic that we actually could get in. Are we going to win the Stanley Cup? I don't know about that, but are we going to actually possibly get a wild card spot where we actually get thrown in and we can actually see what we can do with what we have right now? That's the really interesting part about it, because if we actually do get in, we get to see what happens with what we have. Going to lead into a lot better what we have to do, trade-wise, moving around, what are we going to do with the players we have? We got to think about that in the long run, especially if we make it somewhere where we can actually throw down, okay, we were here. What can we do in the future with these people? What's going to happen when we go back to those people? We don't know right now. I'm not hoping for the best, but
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting situation that we're currently in right now because before this win streak, you're right, 6 games ago, we were all about the sell. Take whatever you can for whatever player, and that even meant for someone like Bertuzzi, which we'll kind of touch on in a little bit here, but I do want to talk about a little about the game, the players that did stick out. P.S. Suter has been a bit of fresh air. He did get a goal in this game. Dylan Larkin continued his point streak. And like I said, every episode I do want to touch on Dylan Larkin, so I'll do it right here, right now, real quick for you guys. Dylan Larkin has 13 points in his last 7 games. He has 27 points in his last 26 games. This man is just on a complete tear. And I believe it was last night's game when they were Dylan Larkin is by far having the best February of any player in the league, and that even goes for someone like Connor McDavid. So that speaks a lot of volumes about a player like Dylan Larkin. Your captain, your hometown boy, your whatever you want to call him, your best player. He's all of those things, all above. So I think now people are kind of wondering, okay, when is he just going to put the pen to paper? When is this going to happen? By the looks of it, it might not even be at the trade deadline. I think this could be a situation where Yzerman truly wants to wait and see if this team.
And he's proven it. That's the great part.
Yeah, I think Yzerman just truly wants to see if Larkin and Bertuzzi, and once again, I'll touch on him later, can see if they can push this team into the wild card spot that it looks like that they can honestly take. I'm looking at these teams like Buffalo, Florida, Washington, New York, Pittsburgh, Crosby, Letang, Malkin. They got really great players. I'm not saying these other teams don't have great players, but just by looking at the Islanders, Washington, and Florida, they didn't progress since last season. They've regressed. So this is the opportunity for Detroit.
You're right. They've dropped down. That's the one thing we have to take advantage of, especially right now. Like, I understand, like, they did great in the beginning of the season. They ran up their scores. That's fine and dandy, but the fact is that we have to, like, take advantage of that now with our team actually how it is. Like, we were rough at the beginning of the season, of course. Everybody saw that. Everyone knew it. We had to literally join in, come up with what we're going to do, build up from nothing pretty much. And they did that.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing, like, the aspects of that and, like, seeing the incorporation of what actually happened with the team and what they've been doing now. And it's starting to work a little bit better.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen that a little bit over the last 5 games, obviously. I mean, last night we can exclude a little bit, but at the same time, we can just, I'm going to exclude it completely just because, what is it, 4-game road trip going all across North America?
Yeah, all the way back.
Well.
All the way back to Washington this upcoming Tuesday. That continues the road trip. So you're going all the way from Detroit all the way out west to going all the way back to the East Coast to play Washington. So that's a pretty intense road trip for sure. I mean, so if you really want to think about it, that's 5 games in a 7-day span. 8. And math is hard.
How can you argue how well they're doing? Like, they have not done anything short of exactly what we would hope they would do. Like, everyone has expectations. The hopes are up here, and they hit the hopes. Like, that's what we're hoping for, too. Like, I mean, obviously. Like, you can't do anything better than what you're anticipating. Then you have the hopes up there, and they hit the hopes, and you're just like, okay, do what you can do after that point. Like, that made me super happy. I can only call so many games in a row before I get wrong once, but,
Yeah, and I don't know.
100% go.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but at least for myself, for the last couple seasons, and I wanted to do the same thing for this season, only because, yes, we did add some pretty nice free agents, so some nice new shiny toys. That's nice and all, but you still have to. I'm not grading this team based on the points. While, yes, you probably should look to see how they did this year compared to last season. That's a decent indicator, I guess, if that's what you want to call it, but you have to also look at the player development. So Sider's been looking good. Jake Wallman's been looking good. Pretty much all the players as of late have been looking good. And I know that we asked the question, is Yzerman on the hot seat? Well, all those players, like Derek said at the beginning, it was rough, right? Because a lot of players were injured, and so people were getting used to the new line combos. People were getting used to the new schemes, the new plays, the new jugglings, whatever you want to call it, so that all factored in, and it's very relevant for sure. And now that everyone is healthy and back, it's starting to show that what Lalone and Yzerman are putting together is working. And that's what we want to see, is that there is some momentum going in, and they're not just falling apart or breaking. Yes. Yeah, and that's what we're looking for.
You can't anticipate someone that's blowing through and taking us out of the water. Like, we have to realize it's going to be a progression every year. Like, we're going to be bad. We're not going to shoot up right up here. We're going to be like, okay, we're right here. We're right here. We're right here. We're right here. And we're slowly going to keep climbing it a little later. And as of right now, if you go look at all of our previous seasons till now, that's all we've done. Especially since we got Yzerman in here. Like, I may have a small soft spot in my heart for him just because he was my boy forever.
Yeah.
Literally since I was a child. But at the same time, I want him to do right by the team.
Oh,
and I feel like he has.
Yeah, he's done a really good job. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here and say, and I think I've said this in past episodes as well, like, I'm not sitting here and saying, all hail Steve Yzerman and his Yzer plan. Like, that's not what I'm doing, because there have been some trades, some pickups, Ben Sherratt, some trades, like, who was it for that one guy from Chicago? Not P.S. Suter, but there was another guy from Chicago that I'm completely drawing a blank on. Brendan Perlini. That didn't work out for the Red Wings. That was...
No, it did not. You see him on the road.
We had some minor difficulties. Derek needs to invest in some better internet, and he knows who to go to for that one. So tell your roommate to fix your stuff. But let's move on. So, yeah, we were talking about Larkin, like, Yzerman's doing the great things, like, we're not saying praise Yzerman and his plan. He's definitely made some questionable moves. Brendan Perlini was one of the trades that is very questionable. The Ben Sherratt signing, which, going on to that, him and Hronek being paired again last night ended up being a -3. Like I said, the Red Wings lost 4-2, so that probably tells you a little bit something there. And that's pretty strange, too, because before last night's game, Ben Sherratt was paired with Mo Seider, who looked pretty decent with Mo Seider. Granted, he still did his odd assignments where he just went for XYZ player that's way on the other side of the ice when he didn't need to go get him. But, what's kind of going on?
Yeah.
So what's kind of going on there? Is it that Mo Seider is just really that good that he can carry that person, much like he did with DeKaiser last season? Or is Sherratt really just that bad? And I think it's both to answer that question, but I want to hear from you as well. You can give me a short or a long version of it. I like the short.
Well, thank you for answering that question very quickly, but yes, it's definitely both. Sherratt is that bad. Obviously, we already know my thoughts of Ben over there, but yeah, also he's not over there. Like, he is the guy. Like, that's the worst part. There's 2 ends to this right now. Like, I'd love to just have someone take him up from underneath our wings, just give us a nice, beautiful 3rd round spot for a trade right there. Like, I'll be happy. I don't care.
Yeah, and
but at the same time, Seider, like, come on. Seider's been doing great. Like, he's also, like, just showing something that our team might slightly need, especially more so on the defensive end. Like, he's showing a lot there. But he's also producing points.
Yeah.
The last couple of games. But he is producing something.
He did end up getting a goal in one of those games, too, and granted it did deflect off of someone, but no, you're right, he's getting the points, and...
I'll take garbage goals all day. I'll watch that for, like, the 10th time today. I'm like, that was a beautiful goal. I don't even care if it knocked off a defenseman's leg. I'm like, look great. It went in. Who cares? Screw Campbell. I don't care what his, like, score streak looks like. I love that he looked embarrassed there.
I'll tell you this much, Derek loves a good garbage goal because he's been saying the same thing ever since we were playing Chell up in, what was it, B5 or B3 back in the days. So.
I mean, you and Chell, that's exactly how you do it.
So, getting back on the topic, so, yeah, I mean, and part of the Red Wings' recent success is also, we touched on how the power play has been looking really bad lately, and honestly, lately, it's been looking pretty good. They've been 8 for 18, at least that's what they said midway through the game last night, when I went back and checked on it.
Oh, my God. Even watching, I can't say much for the last game against the Kraken, because the fucking, Jesus Christ, Kraken. I don't know how we lost to them. But, every game beforehand, the power play looked great.
Yeah, like I said, 8 for 18.
They controlled it. Like, everything you said, Zach, 100%. Keep going with it. Like, sorry to interrupt you on that, but...
No, you're good. Hey, that's what we're here for.
You made me excited. Like, the power play's been doing great. We talk crap about them, and all of a sudden they start doing well again. I wonder who else we talk crap about that started doing well real quick.
Larkin. But no, yeah, that 8 for 18, that's... if I do the math right, that's over 40% on the power play. So, and I'm pretty sure that leads the whole entire league for the month. And then I saw another stat when I was rewatching the game. I think the Red Wings on the road own the best penalty kill in the whole entire league. On the road. Which is...
How many games?
What's that?
For how many games?
Oh, see, that part I don't know. So however many...
That's fair enough. You know what? Let's just go with that. We are the best on the road.
So the Red Wings have played, if I can do math, they've done 27 away games so far. So they're 12-10-5. They're 12-10-5 on the road, and then they are 14-11-3 at home, which is ironic to say because I felt like that the Red Wings have... I feel like that they've played better on the road than they have at home. But also going off this road trip, this is exactly the kind of momentum they need to go back into their building, being on the road for so long that now they can have a stretch to play at home or at least be closer to home and finally have their fans in that arena and give them the extra push to keep on getting these wins. when we have the trade deadline on March 3rd, not even 2 weeks away. And speaking of the trade deadline, Oli Maata, over the weekend, he signed a 2-year extension.
See, right now, you already know what I was about to talk about, all of it.
Yeah.
I was about to bring his ass up right now because Dane, at least he produced right after that. He produced.
Yeah.
That's what I like to see. If you're going to trade him, I know it's only 2 years. There's something massive or anything like that, but he found a home for right now, and it's with us, and I like to see that. He's not a bad defenseman at all.
No.
He's producing. He's getting out what we want to see. But, obviously, everyone like to see more, but at the same time, I'm not upset with that extension for him. That's not bad.
No.
That's what I'll get behind.
I don't think any of the fans are really upset by it. I think where everyone now lies.
You don't look like you're happy about it, but...
No, I'm happy about it, but I'm happy about it, but I think the question that at least I'm asking now is that you are now kind of putting yourself in a position where you have 3 left-handed defensemen still, and that's cool, but now with the resurgence of Jake Wallman and how he's performing, everyone wants him to get signed. So now you'll have 3 left-handed defensemen signed for longer than 2 more years if you do give Jake Wallman another 2 years. So then what does that mean for prospects like Simon Edvinsson? Just like Derek alluded to, maybe there's a team out there that really values Sherrod and his eagerness to go after XYZ player that's all the way down on the other end of the ice. I don't know why, but Florida Panthers are a prime example where they offered up a first-round pick last year just to get a Ben Sherrod. His cap, when you look at it, really isn't that bad. But not to go off topic, I want to go back on Oli Maata. Derek, you're exactly right. The production, he's having one of the best seasons in his career. Granted, he did put up 7 goals and 22 points, or 22 assists and 29 points with the Pittsburgh Penguins in 17-18. But he's got 17 points with 5 goals and 12 assists right now. And he's been moving on the second to third pairing the whole entire season. And that's valuable, especially at the $3 million that he comes in at. And I guarantee you that if a team really valued Oli Maata and his playoff experience in winning the cup, I believe Leslie said it was twice, so I'm going to go along with that. There's going to be a team out there that will want that. And that $3 million really isn't that big of a deal. Do I think that's something that Yzerman's going to do? I don't really see that happening. You just signed him, and then you're going to say, hey, sorry, they offered us a first. It was fun having you signed realistically for another 2 years for 2 weeks, but you got to go now to bomb drop Toronto Maple Leafs because...
A, B, or C. What are you going to do with it?
Speaking of, that is something that I did not write down on my bulletin board here on the list of topics that I did want to talk about, so I just want to break this out there. For those of you who do not know, Ryan O'Reilly was traded from the St. Louis Blues to the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I do not know what's up with St. Louis Blues, but they really seem like that they are going full rebuild, and they want Connor Bedard, which is pretty crazy to think about because they still have good players on their team, even without Ryan O'Reilly and Vladimir Tarasenko. It's just insane to me. They have 3 first-round picks for this year. The Red Wings couldn't do that in all the years that they've been bad. St. Louis does bad. Finally they realize that now's the time to, start to rebuild, and it just blows my mind that they're able to do that. But good for them, honestly. I'm jealous. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
If you can do it, if you're one of the good players and you can actually still rebuild off that, especially key players they're kind of getting rid of. O'Reilly hasn't done anything for years. Let's be honest. He hasn't had anything great go through. He's a good player, but he hasn't done anything for that team in probably at least 2 years in reality.
Yeah, he won a cup with them.
So get rid of him at the same time right now.
Yeah, he won a cup with them. No, you're right. when you look at his numbers, I just pulled it up. Last season he put up 58 points in 78 games. The season before that, he put up 54 points in 56 games, then 61 and 71 in 19-20. And right now, this year, he's on pace for 33 points in 67 games. That is like, what Toronto gave up for a guy who is clearly regressing, it just blew my mind. While I quickly pull this up, I'm going to try and distract you guys. And let's go back on the topic of discussing, are the Red Wings potentially going to trade Jake Walman, Ben Sherratt, or are they just going to let Simon Edvinsson sit? Because when you look at the prospects list, and I know Derek isn't too fluent with the prospects, but the Red Wings have, they have 2 cupboard shelves full of left-hand D prospects waiting to come up. So for someone like me seeing the Oli Maata signing, it's one of these players eventually has to get traded. And with how well that Simon Edvinsson has been, but how well Simon Edvinsson has been doing in Grand Rapids this season, it's not going unnoticed, and fans are going to want to see him play next season. Some people are even suggesting, Derek, I want to know what you think about this. Would you put Ben Sherratt on the right-hand side, on the third bottom pair?
I love when you bring Sherratt in anything just because you already know how much I dislike the man himself. But that, honestly, whatever I would do if I was there was I'd get a trade for him just so he can bring somebody up. Like, I know we have to get rid of somebody if we want to keep Wellman. That's the big thing. Like, I want to keep him. Like, he's the outmost only person I want to keep on the defensive line just so we can start bringing him up and, like, get him incorporated into our lines. Because I know he's going to do well. Like, we all know it's going to happen. You just got to go with it. You got to let the time go through what is going to happen. Make sure it's going to happen. Give him the time out there on the ice to make it actually become a fruition like what we hope and dream instead of killing him off. But at the same time, that just means we got to get rid of somebody. We signed Matt Oli over there for another 2 years, so
yep.
We got to accept the fact that someone's going to get let go. Like, who are we going to want to let go, though? Of course, all of us, you, me, Leslie, anybody that might watch this, we don't want to let Oli go. Sorry, Bowman.
Both of them.
Yeah, I don't want to let both of them go at all. Well, that means we're going to give something up. Like, what are we going to give up? I'm not sure right now.
Well, and
like, we have time, but what is it going to be?
Yeah, and that's, and that's where everyone's kind of confused on the whole Jake Walman thing is, what are we going to offer him? Me, personally, I've been on the bandwagon where that Oli Maata signing, that extension, I think that was more than fair for Oli Maata. Honestly, I think it was any other team, he probably could have gotten maybe $500K more, maybe $1 million more. But realistically, I would get...
At best.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with that, at best.
But, like, with Jake Walman, that's something that I would consider offering him only because of people do make it aware that he doesn't have the track record. Like, this is his first time actually showing out, and it's working. Like, it's not unnoticeable. Like, we see it.
Oh, no, we notice him. That's the good part. But, again, you're right. How many games he played? Like, 26, 27?
It's a little more than that, but no, it's like around 60. If I don't have it pulled up right now, but... No.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that ignore me.
But no, it goes without saying that like it's hard to sign someone to a long-term deal that you really don't know what you're going to get out of him, and he is 26 years old, I believe. So yes, he is technically in his prime, if that's what you want to call it, because that's what I call it.
I mean, that's what I call my age right now. What are you talking about?
But
we are in our prime, Zach. Don't worry.
But we have talked about. And we even said this about Bertuzzi. The Red Wings have... I don't think the Red Wings are in a spot where they have to retain someone because they are in fear of missing out of something being good. When you already know you have something good right now, maybe it's a good thing to sell on that high note. I don't know what you could get for a Jake Walman, to be honest with you. Maybe a third, maybe a second. It would depend on how desperate that team is. But it's the same thing with Bertuzzi, right? Like, Bertuzzi, why are you going to trade him when his stock really isn't as high as it may have been last year when he did get the 30 goals. And if you're Steve Yzerman, you're not selling Bertuzzi based on what he did last year. You're selling him based on what he can provide for your team once you get him from the trade and into the playoffs when you get into the playoffs. And yes, you are telling that team when you get Bertuzzi, you are for sure going to make it in the playoffs. If you're not Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, New Jersey, Rangers, all these other teams, Dallas, Winnipeg, Colorado, Vegas, Los Angeles, Seattle, all those teams basically are not shoo-ins, but they look majority like the favorites to be locked in those top 3 spots in their divisions. So, and I'll go back to it. I do think that there is a team that might be interested in Wallman, but I'd rather keep him. And I think Yzerman might have a better understanding of how to sell a Sherratt more so than a Wallman, because Sherratt has the background. You know what you're getting from Sherratt. You're probably not going to expect anything more from him. You're not going to ask him to get points. You're going to ask him to be the Chris Neil from the Ottawa Senators, whose jersey actually just got retired. I don't know if you knew that, but when they were in the playoffs the most recent time, he played 2 games, and in those 2 games, he only played 2 minutes and 8 seconds average in those 2 games. that and his jersey got hung up in their arena, dude. And we can't hang Fedorovs. Not my pig, not my farm. Yzerman, get on that, please. We all want that. Yes. But
I'm not going to throw my 2 cents on that one, yeah. But if you want to throw your name under the bus for it, I'll take it.
But let's go ahead and, let's shift the focus onto a Tyler Bertuzzi, where I believe it was either right as the game started or right before the game started, Elliote Freidman came out saying that Tyler Bertuzzi is now officially off the trade block, because I'm assuming of how good the Red Wings have been playing with that 5-game win streak. Granted, like I said, they just lost last night, but it's pretty interesting to hear something like that. And my first reaction is I don't buy it. And I'll tell you why I don't buy it is because you don't, especially with someone like Steve Yzerman. Yzerman has always been someone who plays chess amongst people who are playing checkers. He knows how to lead the board and put people into positions to twist their arm and get them to squeal and buy from you. So with this Tyler Bertuzzi situation, you're telling the media, you're telling these other GMs, I'm not trading him because of what he's bringing to our team currently, and this is something we have been missing. Other teams are going to recognize that, and that will make them feel like their arm is being twisted, that they have to go out and overpay for a Tyler Bertuzzi. Now, the question came up, are you willing to keep Bertuzzi past the deadline knowing that he could be a free agent just to make the playoffs? Me, personally, yes. If you're only going to get a second-round pick for Tyler Bertuzzi, I'd much rather keep him and watch him walk and be able to hopefully make the playoffs. That's good for your locker room. That's good for the players in general. And that's called being competitive. That is something that we need to instill in these young players. And a good example is Dylan Larkin, where he got to make the playoffs his first season. The other 6 seasons, he was basically thrown under the bus and left to dry by himself because he had no talent around him. And now that we do, I think it's high time that we owe it to this team and some of these players who have been around Larkin to finally try and make that push. Now, if a team comes out and offers something like they did, I'm not saying that you're going to get something similar to Tarasenko or Ryan O'Reilly, but if someone comes saying, I'll give you a first-round pick, yes, go ahead. Go ahead. But I'm not doing it for a second and a B-level prospect. If you came to me and said, I will give you a first-round pick, or I will give you this young roster player that you can insert into your lineup right now, and he could eventually play in your top 6, I'm taking that. I'm not taking a second. That's just, it just doesn't make any sense to me why you would do that. And then you're going to try and hope you still make the playoffs if you traded him for a second. That second-round pick is going to end up someone like Gustav Lindstrom, who plays on the third pairing right-handed D, who has only 2 goals in his whole entire career. And he's played almost 100 games, I'm sure. I don't have his stat card pulled up, but he's played a decent amount. So, like, I don't want that. Bertuzzi is more valuable than that second-round pick. And that second-round pick probably won't make the team for another 4 years, depending on what position you're drafting him to be. What do you think about it, Derek? Would you rather keep Bertuzzi after the deadline, or do you feel like it's more adequate to trade him to continue building the rebuild?
I mean, honestly, I'm 100% in agreement with you. Like, he's the one person I would, like, even, like, right now, wouldn't trade him after the trade line unless someone's going to offer us something that is worthwhile and you're going to get a shit ton of return out of it. Mm-hmm. No, because I've watched him. I've consistently been watching this kid. Like, the entire time he's been out there, I've been watching him, like, making these plays. He's the one who, like, interrupts everything. He gets in there. He makes sure the play happens. He makes sure that we have he might not get the point on anything, but he'll be like that fourth assistman who, like, passes the person or interrupts the play to make sure that the play that gets us a goal or, like, gets a great play or a block in the fucking assist. Like, we watched the poor kid lay his body down nonstop. Mm-hmm. We all know what he's going to do for the team, no matter who he's on. We all know he loves the Red Wings, and that's what I love the best about him. He will throw his body down no matter what for us. But we can see, like, he's a great player. And if we're going to trade him at some point, it should be after the trade deadline, just because we all know we'll get something a little bit better for him. And or we're just going to make sure he exceeds with us because he is actually a player that we could use on our team, and he has been showing how well he does with himself the last couple of games here. Like, I can't even argue that at all.
Yeah, and, you know, this is something that I've been at least saying in the group chat, and maybe I've touched on it in past episodes, but the one thing that you should notice about Tyler Bertuzzi's game is, and I believe it was the Calgary game, where Bertuzzi got on the half wall, and he likes to get into the corners and get in those puck battles. And what does he do? Feeds the puck to Larkin, scores a goal. So, like, that's very important, especially in the playoffs. And Tyler Bertuzzi is one of those players where if your team gets in a scruff, he's getting in someone's face, and he's helping you out. That is very important still in today's NHL. It's very relevant. This is the type of player that you can call him a Kane Light if you truly wanted to. He's not going to fight anyone, but he's still a productive player who knows how to get into those hard areas, or hard nose areas, whatever.
He'll throw his face right in there where he's not supposed to be, but you know you need to be there.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to crash a net, if you're going to go crashing into the back corner, like, you know he's going to be there every time you look up. And that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
He knows what he's supposed to do. He throws his body on the line. I mean, poor kid has broken his hand, 2 times already? Both hands?
Both hands.
Both of them. Just for blocking shots this year. Like, the kid thinks he's a goalie half the time.
Yeah.
Which beautiful. You're supposed to do it. Put your body on your line. That's how you play hockey. That's why I love the kid. But at the same time, like, holy shit. 2 broken hands from doing that shit this year.
And that's always kind of been the argument with some people, is that that's kind of one of the reasons why they don't want to keep Tyler Bertuzzi, is because of that injury history. Not only has he broken both of his hands this season, Derek, you know, back in 2020-21, he had the broken back. He only got to play 9 games. He had 7 points. That catches up to players. We saw exactly what it did to Zetterberg. We saw what it did to Danny DeKeyser. Granted, he is only 27, but by the time you're like, that adds up. My dad is 58 and he has back problems. Granted, I know that, like, but still, like, Tyler Bertuzzi, he's getting hit every game, more than once too. And like you said, Derek, he's putting his body out there a lot. So that type of surgery and that injury will eventually catch up to those players. I think, no jokes aside, I'm pretty sure that happened to David Backes too. So, but talking about Tyler Bertuzzi, you know, like I said, I don't think you're selling him based on what he did last year. You're selling on him based on what he has provided in these 23 games and what you're going to get out of him the rest of the way there. He has 11 points in the 23 games. It's not bad. It's good. So There's going to be someone out there that I do think is going to be like, I know he's not untouchable. I'll give you this. And I think Eisenman might take that. But we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, less than 2 weeks away is the trade deadline. Continuing on. You got something you want to say?
No. I'll end it there, Bertuzzi, on that line.
All right.
I can talk to that about that kid for hours on end. I'm like, why? So let's move on from there.
So, the other question I want to ask is, do you think the plans are changing at the trade deadline? Do you think the Red Wings are still going to be sellers, or do you think there might be some buying involved as well?
Oh my God, from what we have going on right now, like, how can you not say that there's going to be some buying? Like, I understand, like, of course we want to sell. We want to see, like, what we can get from what we got, but we're, like, just improving on what we got right now. But at the same time, I'm like, what are we going to bring in? Like, I need some options for what we might need, because over the last 5 games, I mean, Kraken besides, we've looked very well as a team in whole.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think we need to actually bring in that actually makes us that top-tier team where we're not going to be, like, losing to teams, like, after a long road trip like the Kraken? Like, we have, for the longest time, like, we had the D, we had the offense, but then we all suddenly collapsed when we got to the end game. I understand. We're going to be tired, of course. Like, What can you say about that?
Yeah.
We're long road trip, drive, like, flying from one literally continent to the, no, not continent. Going from one, what are they called? Shit. I have no idea.
From one time zone
country
to
another.
Country as well. Yeah, time zone, country. Whatever you want to call it.
Let's go with time zone. Let's go with whatever makes the easiest for everybody, because I am not there. But, like, what can you actually say, like after that, you show, like, how your worth is for every team. Like, you can see, like, somebody at the very end, like, how they actually are going to play after all that, and they still play, like, think of Larkin right now. That kid does all that stuff, and he's still, even after that Kraken game, he still played tremendously. Like, I can't argue anything. He's amazing. It is beautiful. But at the same time, what do we need in there to actually bring the team up to that spot where, even though we're dead after, 5-game road trip, 4-game road trip, that brings us back to fruition, and we're going to kick some ass back where they actually are.
Yeah, I mean,
what do we need to do that?
Yeah, and no, that's a very good question. I mean, like, if you are going to be buyers and you do see yourself trying to get out of the first round, if you make it to the playoffs, yeah, that's a very good question. What would you need to add? Me personally, and I don't think you're going to get this at the trade deadline, I really do think that we need a true second-line center. I don't think that it's Copp. And this isn't saying that Copp is bad, and I know that I ride on Copp a little bit. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a really good player. I just don't think he's a 2C, and I think he's more suited on the wing. So that's one thing that I would add. The other thing I would add is removing Sherrod. I know, jokes aside, just someone who can score. We need someone in that top 6 who is a consistent scorer. Kubalik was doing some work for us a little bit. The bottom 6 looks great. I love the bottom 6, so I don't think you need any changes there. But Raymond's out hurt.
You're holding out, too. That's the good part. Like, what you're saying at the bottom 6. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. But,
yeah, you're good.
Like, the bottom 6, they've held out. Like, that's the best part I've seen. Like, you don't see too many, like, NHL teams that have a bottom 6 that can hold up against a top 2 or top 1 line. Like, most of the time, you just see those lines getting scored on by those people. But you see with our line, it actually pushes through and actually keeps our team safe, for the most part, for a top 2 lineman to get back out there and go score the goals.
Yeah.
And that's what we've been seeing a lot of. Like, that's exactly how it's supposed to go. Like, you're not supposed to feel bad for them. Like, they're doing their job. They're pushing through. They know exactly what they're supposed to do at that bottom roll. Like, you just make everyone else tired. You send your good people out. Hopefully they score. And then you, again, go back out there and kill them. That's exactly what you're supposed to get out of that.
Yeah, I mean, and then, like I said, I think the only other thing, The only other criticism that I would say about the Red Wings is I don't like the second line in general. The second line lately has been Michael Rasmussen, Andrew Kopp, Robbie Fabry, and I do think that a candidate to be traded once again is someone like Robbie Fabry. Um, we just have a lot of players that, as Eisenman and Lalone like to say, have great and high compete level. It's great to have those. However, that second line in general, that's a really good third line to me. Now, if you're instilling that as your second line going into the playoffs, I think you're, in the nicest way possible, dummied a little bit out there. It just would suck to see the Red Wings go in there and just get smacked around the first 4 games and get a total of 5 goals out of those 4 games. That would really suck. I'm not going to lie, and that's something that I am a little nervous about, especially if you're going to play up against a team like Boston or Carolina. As of right now, those would be the 2 teams that you would be playing against if you were in either the first or second wild card. I just think we need an upgrade at center. We need someone who can actually score consistently. We basically need Jacob Vrana to actually play, who still hasn't played, and that's another question I want to ask you real quick.
I was going to say, when are you going to bring that one up?
I want to go on to this next question. But for me, I think to answer my own question that I asked you, I think the Red Wings should be, if you're going to sell, you're buying in the same token, where you're trading someone like Bertuzzi and then replacing him with someone else who is just younger. That the other team just can't simply wait for him to develop his game a little bit more. And that might just be one off season, but that team wants the cup right now. So I get that, and I can see something like that happening. But my question is now, why the hell hasn't Vrana been able to play? I get it. This is the saying that Lalone says, and I completely understand it, and it makes sense. Don't try and fix something if it's not broken. That's fine. But one issue that I have with that is that you're calling up someone who is doing decent in the Grand Rapids Griffins to just have him sit as a healthy scratch for the 3 to 4 games, however long it was. It's just dumb. I don't understand it. I don't get it. You easily could have just healthy scratched Kubalik. You could have healthy scratched Zadina, as much as I love him. Just give the man at least one freaking game. And I'm kind of hoping that it happens on Tuesday against the Caps. And Raymond doesn't come back, but we're still kind of waiting on news on that. He's skating, but we don't know if he's going to be back for Tuesday's game yet. So maybe that's his opportunity to, since they just lost. But I want to see him get some fire in his ass. Or under his ass, not in it.
I mean, it depends on what you want. You can see whatever you want. But I would like to see it under his ass, mainly just because then we get to actually see some, our third, what round pick draft was Verona?
We didn't draft him. We traded for him for Anthony Mantha.
Oh, we traded even better.
Derek has a poor memory for those of you that don't know. It's okay. We still love him around here.
There's nothing up here.
We still love him.
There's a lot of things up here that have nothing to do with hockey, and I wish they did. But they're some reason swimming around in my brain. I'm also being distracted by something on my left-hand side right now. But I can't say that out loud because we're a family-friendly YouTube page.
It's me. Don't let them fool you. It's me.
Yeah, this thing's very distracting. Actually, have you seen that face? It's beautiful. But back to Dr. Verona. I just want to see what he can do. I'm not going to lie. I don't want to trade him. I want to see. I want to see what that kid can do back on our top lines. He's not doing terrible down in Grand Rapids. He's doing well. He's doing exactly what we'd expect him to do, especially after being off for whatever it was that he was off for. We don't know. We can only speculate, and I'm not going to speculate anything because I have no idea, and I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus for anything. So, whatever he was doing down there, it seems he got better.
Yeah.
And I want to see what actually happens with them. Like, I don't want to trade him right now. Like, screw it. I want to take the bullet. That's just me. I want to see what happens. Like, we could see him blow up here, like, in the weeks we need him. It might be something different. We don't know.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty much just all I want to see. I just want to see him hit the ice. I just want to see him have fun, just like how he was in Grand Rapids. Do I think that this is kind of hurting him a little bit just by having him be a healthy scratch? A little bit, personally. That's just my opinion on that. But it sounds like that he's okay with it. He just wants to be with the boys again. He just wants to do what he has to do. And that's what you ask for anyone with their job. Do what you got to do to get the job done. And that's what he's doing. If he's got to be a healthy scratch, he's got to be a healthy scratch. But yeah,
he's accepted it hardcore too. That's the good part. Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm just going up what you're saying. Like, he's accepted it. He's like, I'm willing to actually play for the Red Wings, do what they need us to do, and I will sit where I need to sit as long as I get to play for the Red Wings. I'm like, I like that for a kid. Like, hearing that, like, that's what you want to do. Like, I'm willing to do what I need to do with my own health and for the team. He's accepting all of like the downfall and just going in with what he needs to do. He's accepting it. Like, that's different from what you hear from a lot of people.
Yeah. No, and yeah, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully he can play this next game on Tuesday against the Washington Capitals, which starts at 7 p.m. We will be recording our next episode on Wednesday night, and that will be the day before they play against the New York Rangers on Thursday at 7 p.m. as well. Derek, this is our pastime. I just want you to tell me what you expect out of the Washington Capitals game. That is Vrana's former team, and we will be playing against Anthony Mantha, who used to be our former player. So maybe this is where we get Vrana come in and gets his hat trick goal. Is that what I'm predicting right now? You know what? I'm just all hail Magic Conch. I'm putting it out there right now, everyone. I'm not expecting it. Put your money. I just even a goal, even an assist. But it would be nice to see Vrana go out there, just show the league exactly what he can do. But Derek, Dubs.
I was wrong one game this week, and I'm very upset by it. But I'm gonna stick on line with what I said already in the last podcast. I'm with Leslie. I'm sorry. I'm against Leslie, actually. We're going to beat the Capitals. I forgot he said we were going to lose. Nah, I'm still against him on that one. We're going to win. We lost against fucking Kraken. I'm not happy about that. I watched the recaps and saw the goals and all that crap. I'm like, okay, we had the chance to win. We could have won. But, we're going to be tired. What can you do about that after a long game road streak like that? Like, you did what you can do. They beat the shit out of the Kraken. But everybody else before the Kraken. I mean, the Kraken kicked our own asses, and what can you do? I just love saying Kraken. I'm not gonna lie. No one does not realize that yet, but the Kraken definitely kicked our Kraken ass. So,
Derek, you be cracking me up.
I mean, the Kraken got me, man.
Got him.
I mean, if you're going to give your name a team with the Kraken, I'm going to use it to the extent and won't stop.
Well, to be honest...
I'm 100%.
Well, to be honest with you, Derek, I do remember that our second favorite team is the Vegas Golden Knights because they were a new team when we were in college and we loved them. And to be honest with you, I will say that Seattle is my third favorite team only because of our boy Tree. Tree, we love you, buddy. Hope you love being out in Seattle. We can't wait to visit you soon.
Where are you? I think you're that way, Tree.
Yeah, I kept pointing
that way. Yes, I do love you too. I watched your post on Snapchat of the Kraken's game, and I was a little upset because it was just a slow loss.
Was he there?
Yeah, he was at the game.
Oh, I was the one who... Oh, yeah. I had mentioned to him that they were playing against the Red Wings, so I'm glad to see they actually win. I'm going to have to ask him how it went. But, yeah, buddy Tree, if you're watching this, gave you a shout-out. Hope you liked it. But, Derek, honestly, buddy...
Well, to let you know, we lost.
He was kind of happy about that. He's now a Seattle crackhead. So,
Tree, if you're watching this, I'm very disappointed in you, my son.
All right, folks.
I know you're older than both of us, but I'm disappointed.
All right, before Derek gets any more breath in his head and keeps speaking, I'm going to sign us out now. We definitely appreciate everyone for joining us once again on this lovely episode of Hockeytown University. We hope that you love the new logo. You know, like I said, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you would like to hear us talk about on a future episode. And as always, thanks everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday. And we'll see you then.
Have a great day, everybody.